Today is about bringing together perspectives at the vital intersection of journalism and public health. By way of introduction, my name is Lara Setrakian. I'm the co-founder and CEO of News Deeply. We publish platforms like Syria Deeply, Refugees Deeply, Arctic Deeply, and for a time, Ebola Deeply, all single-subject, in-depth media platforms that bring together the key stakeholders around a given issue. 1 year ago, the Rockefeller Foundation, and in particular Carrie Myers, who's here with us today, brought together a group of doctors, journalists, and communications specialists at their center in Bellagio, Italy, to talk about this question. How do we rethink public health communications in an interconnected world? That turned into a long-form, in-depth report that we produced with Kind Communications, who are also here with us today. That report inspired a continued conversation and today's lunch event. We wanted to bring together journalists and public health professionals to widen the conversation, to continue the conversation, to think about how we communicate about health, especially in times of crisis. As journalists, how do we provide effective information, calm and comprehensive information, rather than stoking fear and hysteria? How do we explain what the public needs to know and do to stay safe, all while communicating the appropriate and accurate levels of risk and uncertainty in what are often rapidly evolving contexts? We in the media need to do our jobs wisely and well. And as a guidepost, we can look to the speakers who are here with us today. Dr. Jonathan Lepuk, Bob Bazell, Mary Harris. They represent the very highest standards of our profession. They also help us see why we need specialized reporting and specialized reporters in our industry today. They have great guidance to share, and with input from public health leaders like Drs. Gerberding and Varma, Todd Ringler, and Dr. Wafa El-Sadr, we can do some advanced thinking here today on public health communications. We're going to be videotaping this conversation to post and share later with a wider audience. We're also going to be posting online on Twitter using the hashtags Zika and hashtag DeeplyHealth. I also want to say that we're very, very grateful to have with us a number of friends and folks who have moved this field forward. Yvonne McPherson is here from BBC Media Action. She was with us in Bellagio last year having this conversation. But BBC Media Action has done some of the most effective public health interventions in countries around the world. They also just published a policy brief on communications' role in global health, covering the experience of Ebola, HIV, polio, and other diseases and how they've been communicated both on the ground and in the global press. The right message at the right time from the right person can save lives. Without those three things, people die. That's what we heard from Barbara Reynolds, CDC's crisis communication specialist, as we were writing the report. This isn't just any story or any beat. There's a lot more at stake in getting it right. It's now my pleasure to introduce my esteemed and beloved colleague, Nancy Tourette. She's the founder of WholeView and a member of the board of Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health. Those who know her know she is a force of nature, a longtime health advocate. I love the little giggles of acknowledgement in the crowd. A longtime health advocate who's been an innovator in public health communications, and she was instrumental in shaping the program today. With much gratitude, I'd like to invite her up to the podium.
Well, this is a dream come true, for sure. And one thing that Lara Setrakian makes possible is that you can make them come true. Why shouldn't media communicators, public health leaders, and people who are in the science and corporate worlds, why shouldn't they be partnering? And in fact, how is it already changing? That's what this meeting is really about. There have been some phenomenal innovations and learnings, and our first panel will discuss that. And there's so much further we have to go. So I look at this as the beginning, or maybe the next step after the Bellagio convening, of what will be an action. I'm going to turn it back to Lara, but I did want to acknowledge there are so many people in the room today who could actually be panelists, not just listen to the panels, but I'm not going to go through everybody, but I did want to acknowledge a couple of key partners, one being the Columbia Mailman School of Public Health team, led by Peter Tabak, the communications team who have been partnering with News Deeply on this project. And I also wanted to say that it is fantastic to see Alan Court here, one of my mentors and the person who taught me everything I know about malaria. Thank you.
So we've mentioned Yvonne and Carrie and the wonderful folks from the Mailman School. After this event, if you'd like to connect with any of them, please just let us know. We'd be happy to facilitate introductions across the people in this room. I'd like to invite up the members of our first panel. It's a 35-minute discussion moderated by our own Deborah Katz, executive editor of Deeply Health. She recently joined us from the Wall Street Journal. She has a long career in multimedia reporting. She's the force that's launching a series of health platforms on our team, starting with Alzheimer's Deeply, then looking toward potentially launching Malaria Deeply, Diabetes Deeply, and beyond. Deborah, the floor is yours.